What's up, nerds? This is Mr. Storm, and today we're going to talk about tables and lists. Tables and lists are ways to organize data on your web page so you can group like data in specific ways. I'm sure you've used tables and lists before in things like Microsoft Word when you're generating reports. I'm going to teach you how to do it on a web page. So let's take a look at tables real quick. This is what a table generally looks like. You have rows that go horizontally across, and you have columns which go up and down, and you have a combination of rows and columns that makes a grouping of information that looks like this. So let's take a look at this table example so we can get an idea of what it's supposed to look like. So we have table, right? That is our table element, and everything in between our table opening tag and table closing tag is going to be designated as part of that table, right? So all of this is the code that makes up the table. Right below that, we have a TR element. We have a TR element opener and a TR closer, right? So everything in between this is designated as part of this TR. And TR stands for table row. So this is the first row of our table, okay? Inside of that row, we have a table header, TH. We have another table header, TH, and a third table header. Those table headers are going to be center aligned and bold. Okay, so that's kind of like the top of the table showing you, what goes into each column. Each of these table headers creates a new column in the table. So we have one row and 3 columns in that row. Then we go down to the second row, and we have another, we have our table row. Now we have a different element. This one's called TD, or table data. Table data is going to be left justified, and it's not going to be bold. So this is just regular data in our table. So Jill is going to be the data in the first column in the second row, which if you think about it, it goes right underneath this first name header. So it'll be first name, then Jill, right? Table data, the next piece of table data is Smith, that goes under last name, and then 50, that goes under age. Then we have another row, which gives us Eve Jackson 94, right? So let's take a look at what this looks like. So in this, we have 4 rows. We have our top row, which is our table headers. Then we have 3 rows of data. We have John Doe down there at the bottom. So this is our top row with our table headers, our second row with our Jill Smith, right? Jill Smith 50. Then we have Eve Jackson and John Doe. Okay, that table doesn't look very good. Let's talk about how to make it look nicer. So we can style our tables by adding borders. Now when you just add a regular border to a table, you're going to get something like this, right? You're going to get this double line border thing, because what it's doing is it's adding a border to the whole table itself and then to each individual element inside the table. Some people like that, some people don't. One way we can get rid of that is we can add a border collapse property so that we get this single line, which some people prefer. We can add padding to our border, spacing, we can span cells across many columns, and there's all kinds of things we can do to our tables. You're going to want to go through the exercises, read all the information on this page, get really familiar with tables and how they work. So let's take a look at the table part of the assignment. Let's do that first, then we'll talk about lists. So with this table part of the assignment, let's go ahead and go to my document. And again, the first thing you want to do is you want to save as. And you want to save this as About Me 8. And you want to put it in your website folder, because that's where we're going to start putting everything in. Because if you remember, all of our pictures are in here as well. So in order for our web page to look good from now on, in order for our pictures to show up, we're going to need that About Me, or we're going to need it to be in that website. So, or in that website folder, because we're going to zip everything together. Yep, that already exists. Yep, got it. So I'm going to put my table down here below the last element on my page and create a table. Add some space in between. And I'm going to create my first table row. Now, this table for this assignment is asking us to populate the table with our class schedule, and we want to format the table to look nice. So sometimes it's easier if you want to draw out what you think the table should look like on a piece of paper. That works. If you want to do that, I can kind of just visualize what it's supposed to look like. What I want is across the top, I want to have first period, second period, third period, fourth period, and fifth period. And then going down the sides, I want A day and B day. Now, there's going to be one cell up in the top left-hand corner which is going to be blank because that's the intersection of my two headers, and usually that's going to be blank. So let's do that. Let's do table header, and I'm going to make that blank. Just put a space in there. And then my first, actually what's going to be my second column is going to be first period. Okay, and I'm just going to copy this because it's going to be basically the same. I'm going to copy and paste. Second period, third period, fourth period, fifth period. All right. And then I can go in here and change these. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, so that's that. That's that row. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to test my table and make sure it looks the way I want it to look. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I will open it up and see what we've got. So scroll down. So now I have first period, second period, third period, fourth period. Good. That's what I wanted. It doesn't look very good, but we're going to change that in a minute. Oh, all right. Let's add another row to our table. TR. And in the first column, I'm going to want a table header, and I want this to say A day. In the second column, I want it to be regular table data, because now we're into our table data. And my first period A day is open block. That's going to be most of my classes. My second period A day is open block. My schedule's boring. Third period A day is my prep time. Fourth period A day is another open block, I think. I don't know. I haven't memorized my schedule yet. And then fifth period A day is concurrent enrollment. I'll just put Weber State class. Weber class. It's my Weber State class that I teach. Okay. And now that that, format is there, I'm just going to actually copy and paste this to do my third row. I'm going to change this to B day. And B day, all this is the same. This is actually computer programming. And this is an open block class. All right, so now I have my schedule on there. Let's go ahead and save it. And, oh, I need to open it again. And let's open it. We scroll down. And so we can see now I have A day, first period, second period, third period, fourth period, fifth period. So it's all in there. I have a table. But now I want to style it so that it looks nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this internally. I'm going to designate that it's a table, or I'm pointing at my table. I want to do border is 1px solid black. Okay. And then I also want to set a border collapse property to collapse. Let's save that and refresh my page. So that applied the border collapse to the entire table. Okay, that's not what it was supposed to do, but actually let's get rid of my border collapse property and see if that changes it, see what happened there. Nope. Okay. Let's look at the border stuff to see what I did wrong there. I didn't apply it to the table headers and the table data as well. That's why. So let's go ahead and do that. Sometimes you have to make a mistake before you remember the correct way to do things. And one thing you'll learn about me as we get into some of the more advanced stuff, I don't actually memorize a lot of this stuff. Sometimes I memorize it over time just because, you know, out of sheer whatever. But I don't always memorize it properly. Now at this point I can add some padding and some whatever to make it look nice and some shading, but I'm not going to do that. This video is long enough. Find me in the next video and we'll talk about lists.